Kevin Hodges is quietly confident about his side's chances, but they needed to get some league points on the board against Scarborough. The commentator, Seth Conway.
You couldn't ask for better weather for a game between two seaside towns. Rodney Jack makes the starting lineup after injury worries picked up on Tuesday. Gittins takes the throw quickly, a bit too quickly that time, but Rodney Jack has the chance to run. It's going over Martin. Tony Beddoes through. And in the end, the goalkeeper, after his initial mistake, did well. Kevin Martin misread the bounce. Over it went, and with the help of the defender, just got a touch to take it behind. In comes the corner. Away by Williams. Gibbs will get another go. This one better to Hill. Oh, and that was just inches wide of the post from Kevin Hill. It's the closest Torquay have come. He came back in again to the Budley Salterton-born lad, Kevin Hill, and his header not far wide. Jack. Gurney's still there. Centres, looking for Hill. Kevin Martin spills it. And Van der Velden sent it out of play more. Testing moment for the Scarborough keeper. One that Torquay perhaps should have built on. Gurney swung it in. Keeper dropped it. Lucky for him. Another player for Scarborough was there to clear up. In comes the corner. There's Gittins. And Martin makes sure that time with his hands. Well-worked corner that time from Paul Gibbs. John Gittins, the Torquay centre-back, made it perfectly. But Kevin Martin, the Scarborough keeper, is in the right place to make the save. What a super location to watch a game. Bit of sun, bit of football, perfect. Van der Velden forward, into the path of John Kay. This could be dangerous. Oh, that's a super effort from Kay. The referee decides Matthew Gregg must have got a touch onto it. Oh, Paul Gibbs was caught short by right-back John Kay for Scarborough. Just sat up for him a second, but then he fired. Lucky for Torquay, the post was in the way. Van der Velden forward to Gary Bennett. Brodie's in the middle, it's going to reach him, and he should have put Scarborough into the lead, because that was a great opportunity. Matthew Gregg did well as Bennett swung in the cross. Brodie was clear. Gittins wins the header into the path of Rodney Jack. Oh, it's a sensational effort from Jack. Here's Paul Gibbs. Well, he's going to leave it for Rodney Jack now. Jack keeps going. Odway. Disappointing end to what was a very promising attack as Rodney Jack got into his stride. Just got a touch onto the bar from Kevin Martin. Torquay were that close to taking the lead. Farling comes for the throw-in. Back to Gurney. Centres. Oh, and almost sneaked it past Kevin Martin from a rather acute angle. Andy Gurney scored last week at Macclesfield. Tried to score here again. Kevin Martin obviously just got a touch onto it. Quickly taken by Gibbs to McFarlane. Now to Jack. Gibbs has space again. McFarlane moves into the middle. Comes towards Gittins. That's a great header and a great goal for Torquay through centre-back John Gittins. He had his troubled times at Torquay last season. Hopefully he's put them behind him. And what a way to start Torquay's season at home with a great goal. The cross came over, it looked a little bit too deep, but John Gittins made sure he got his head there. And poor old Kevin Martin, it hit the post and just rolled in to give Torquay the lead. Torquay 1, Scarborough 0. Bennett looks to create his own way to goal, finds Ben Worrell. It's a neat shot. Matthew Gregg was behind it. Ben Worrell was linked to a move to Exeter a couple of seasons ago. They're in need of a striker. It wasn't a bad shot.
I was very pleased with the final outcome. Great result. You know, you couldn't wish for anything better than to get your first game at home and to get 3 points. I must admit I was a little bit disappointed with the overall performance. I was hoping that we were going to continue from the game against Bournemouth in midweek, but we didn't really start that well, and at times we lived a little bit dangerously. But we stuck at it, and at half-time we managed to sort of have a little chat about a few things, and it was much better in the second half. We improved a lot, and you know, pleased with the final outcome.
Well, I've got a feeling that Torquay are going to surprise quite a few people this season. Good start for them yesterday. Well, Exeter City fans normally...
Disappointment for Plymouth Argyle and Exeter City, as Martin Dean reports.
Torquay's hard-earned advantage from the first leg was wiped out after just 25 minutes of last night's return at Plainmoor, when Frank Rollin put Bournemouth back on level terms. Although Torquay had their moments after that, with Rodney Jack the most likely source of a goal, the game always looked destined to go to extra time. But just when it seemed that a penalty shootout would be needed to settle the tie, Torquay grabbed an unlikely winner when Jack's attempted cross somehow sneaked into the far corner. There was high drama at home
last night. In the end, though, their 2-1 victory was enough to keep them at the top of the Division 3 table after a match which began with a poignant tribute to the Princess of Wales.
Players and both sets of fans united in silent homage to a dead princess. But as sporting life returned to some sort of normality at Plainmoor, it wasn't long before the traditional passion of a Devon derby began to boil over. An X-rated challenge on Chris Curran from Torquay's Paul Mitchell brought the first red card of the night, and the home side found themselves doubly punished as Exeter took the lead from the resulting free kick, Steve Flack setting up Darren Rowbottom for the goal. Despite their numerical disadvantage, Torquay hit back in some style with a stunning equaliser from Andy Gurney. That was the signal for things to get a little out of hand on and off the pitch. As the stewards dealt with a couple of irate fans, referee Clive Wilkes was evening things out amongst the players. Exeter's Andy Cyrus getting his marching orders after another flare-up. But it was Exeter who had the final word, with Rowbottom grabbing his second goal to keep them at the top of the tree. Plymouth Argyle chairman Dan McCauley was among those watching at Plainmoor last night, which meant that he...
Torquay head coach Kevin Hodges described the first half at Hartlepool as the worst 45 minutes of football he'd ever seen. Strong words and not a great deal of evidence to contradict him, it has to be said. Rodney Jack's snapshot on 27 minutes, Torquay's only bright spot. By their own admission, Hartlepool weren't a whole lot better, but in Paul Baker, they have a man capable of turning any game at this level, and the former Torquay striker did just that on the stroke of half-time. Baker's chip, absolute perfection to leave goalkeeper Ken Vasey stranded. If Hodges reckoned the first half was bad, then his thoughts on the second are probably unrepeatable. Just 3 minutes after the restart, Hartlepool increased their lead, and again Baker was involved. His astute pass gave John Cullen the run on Torquay's defence, and he finished in some style. Not much Vasey could do about that one. Things went from bad to worse for the Gulls moments later when star striker Jack was involved in an unsavoury elbowing incident. Jack claims he didn't make contact with the defender. Club officials can judge for themselves when they watch these pictures. The referee had no doubt, though. Jack instantly dismissed. It didn't take Hartlepool long, 4 minutes to be exact, to make the advantage of an extra man pay dividends. Graham Lee made it 3-0, and after that, it was a case of damage limitation for Torquay.
Torquay then in the bottom third of the table. Their fourth defeat of the season sees them down in 19th slot with 7 points from 7 games. Torquay, of course, back in action. Leg of the Coca-Cola Cup tie with Ipswich. Last night, Torquay came close to pulling off a major upset, but in the end, they had to settle for a draw, as Jeff Welsh reports.
In theory, a first-leg second-round tie at Ipswich always looked like a home win. But Torquay surprised everyone, not least themselves, by taking the lead against the First Division side inside a minute. Andy McFarlane was the man responsible for giving the Gulls a dream start. But it was heroics at the other end that kept them in front. And Matthew Gregg saved this penalty from Mark Steen. As the match went on, Torquay grew in confidence. and were unlucky not to increase their lead. Rodney Jack always looked dangerous, and Kevin Hill should really have done better from this range. But just when a famous victory looked on the cards, Ipswich got the equaliser. Nicky Stockwell scoring the goal in the 89th minute to set up an interesting second leg at Plainmoor next week.
Throughout the game, we've defended very, very well, and I think it was less than a minute left, and we've let them in, which, from that point of view, it was a little bit disappointing to have gone so long and then to concede a goal. But I can't complain with the result or the performance. You know, I think we'd have settled for that if before the game.
Torquay officials say that although a near full house is expected at Plainmoor for the second leg, the game won't be all ticket.
Great result.
Scout in the first round. Bournemouth, you may remember, paid the penalty for underestimating the Devon side in the first leg at Dean Court, and they then went down to a little bit of Jack magic in an extra time thriller in the return leg at Plainmoor. Well, whether Torquay can reproduce the first round form here at Portman Road must be in some doubt. They come into tonight's game on the back of 3 successive defeats in the league, with coach Kevin Hodges describing Saturday's performance at Hartlepool as the worst since he took charge. He's boosted by the return of Andy McFarlane up front. He's missed the last 3 games with an Achilles problem. Kevin Hill replaces the suspended Paul Mitchell in midfield, and young Matthew Gregg returns in goal at the expense of Ken Vasey. For player coach Steve McCall, tonight's match marks a nostalgic return to where his career began. He made 250 league appearances in a 10-year spell here at Portman Road. James Scowcroft is a product of the present very successful youth policy at Ipswich. He returns after recovering from the back injury which kept him out of last week's England under-21 international with Moldova. Scowcroft is one of 3 current under-21 internationals in the Ipswich lineup. The others are goalkeeper Richard Wright and wing-back Kieran Dyer. They take their place in a side which contains an interesting blend of youth and experience. Manager George Burley struggling to overcome a string of injury problems which has robbed him of no less than 7 first-team regulars tonight. Well, tonight's referee is Steve Baines from Chesterfield, who gets this second round first leg tie underway. Ipswich wearing blue shirts and white shorts, familiar colours for them. Torquay in their away strip. An early opportunity for Rodney Jack to have a little run at the Ipswich defence. McFarlane is in the middle. Not a bad effort either. Torquay, I think, will get the corner from that. That deflected wide. But a promising start. Rodney Jack looking to take on the Ipswich defence. He got to the byline. McFarlane was coming in. He's just forced away for the corner. A good positive start from Torquay, and it's gone in! Well, what a start for Torquay United. Andy McFarlane's the man who's got the touch. And well, he couldn't have had a better return to the Plainmoor side than that, could he? Well, less than a minute on the clock. As the corner was floated in towards the near post, McFarlane getting up above the Ipswich defence. And a shot start for Torquay United. This is tall McFarlane, and certainly made use of his height then. Oh, what a dream start for Torquay. Stockwell being forced to go backwards. Williamson. Scowcroft. He was caught from behind by Alex Watson. Ipswich perhaps with a chance to create their first scoring opportunity of the game. Quickly taken. Tarico looking to get the cross in. Torquay defending in numbers. And that's Wales. Tarico again. Got him here as penalised this time. And again, Ipswich looking to take the free kick quickly. Stockwell with a chance to get the cross in towards Steen. Certainly the best chance for Ipswich so far. And Mark Steen knows he should have done better with it. Well, it was Mick Stockwell who made the initial break, that quickly taken free kick. Good ball into Mark Steen, and really he should have got the ball on target. call. Not able to do too much with it. Now Scowcroft. Play through towards Steen. Greg was out very quickly. And it could be a good clearance too. McFarlane has got away. Well, Andy McFarlane opting for the first-time shot. Wasn't a great deal on for him, I suppose, but might just have broken for him. Ipswich will need to guard against pressing too many players forward in search of the equaliser. Scowcroft with it, did that. Now Torquay looking for the 1-2. And was Scowcroft brought down? Yes, he was. And that will be a penalty. And an unnecessary penalty at that. And Scowcroft looking to go through. He was pulled back by Paul Gibbs. Well, it was only a minor pull. And those are the sort that often don't get given. And referee Steve Baines deciding that that should be a penalty. Now Mark Steen with the chance to put Ipswich back on level terms. Oh, Gregor saved it. Wow. Matthew Gregg, the 18-year-old Torquay United goalkeeper. His first year as a full pro. And he could be the hero of the night. Guessing right. It was a poor penalty, really, but Gregg, in fairness, guessing right and grabbing the loose ball pretty quickly, too. Well, danger at the other end. Rodney Jack. Oh, so close. Oh, that should so easily have been 2-0. Well, Rodney Jack getting away from the Ipswich defence. We beat Richard Wright, and that was agonisingly close, wasn't it? So, in the space of a minute, we could have had a goal at either end. Well, it's been a happy day so far for them. Long trip up here. Well, they're enjoying it, that's for sure. This is Stockwell. Oh, he's almost found his way through that little gap. 2 players round him, and Stockwell almost managing to sort of ghost past all 3 of them. Torquay. Now Steen. Torquay looking to come inside. It's all right foot at the moment. Finding Scowcroft though. He was looking for Mark Steen. And Devon Hill forced to concede the corner. Well, defending again from Torquay. Devon Hill. Wouldn't have thought he'd be playing on this stage after coming from Torrington. Oh, Gregg again up with the save. Well, he's having quite a night, isn't he, Matthew Gregg? Corner floated in. And a good save again from the young Torquay goalkeeper. Venus looking for Steen. Good dummy from him. Chance here for Scowcroft. He finds space for the shot. Well, he took too long, really. Well, Scowcroft really wanting an age to get the shot in. Should have gone first or second time, but once he checked inside, the opportunity was gone, really. Probably should have hit it about then. Just trying to get that little bit closer all the time. And Torquay getting plenty of men back behind the ball. This is Torquay. Now Williams finding Sonner. Venus has come up on the overlap. And there's Dyer outside him. Besides, he doesn't need it. Steen. Wow. Probably should have done a little better with that one, Mark Steen. Good cross in from Mark Venus. Came off the head of John Gittings and fell invitingly for Steen. Couldn't get quite enough purchase on the ball. It was just a little bit too far back for him. Couldn't quite line it up. Possibly might have taken it with the other foot as well, of course. Sonner back for Williams. Torquay. And wide for Stockwell. Hill is in the way. Torquay wanted to take it quickly. He's looking to play the 1-2 this time. But, situation really rather telegraphed. Is Holland getting forward? He might try the shot. Not too far wide from Matt Holland. And Rice looks to come forward from that sweeper position. Possibly just trying to show one or two of his front runners the sort of urgency they need. Always looked as if it was going to go wide, but Greg covering it pretty well. And there is the half-time whistle. And Torquay United will be delighted with their first 45 minutes work. Andy McFarlane putting them ahead in the opening minute. And then that penalty save from Matthew Gregg, keeping that slender advantage right through to half-time. The half-time score then here at Portman Road. It's Ipswich Town 0, Torquay United 1. Join us again after the break. To Portman Road as Torquay United get the second half underway. And Alex Matthew has come off the bench for Ipswich to start this second half. I'm sure there have been one or two interesting conversations in that Ipswich dressing room. And of course trailing by a goal to nil. And the game are very much expected to win. Well, Matthew getting an early touch. And now Mark Venus. Landing Torquay. Mark Steen inside for Torquay, have gone for the return ball. An early chance for Matthew. Couldn't quite get his foot to it. This is Dyer. And Torquay grateful to scramble it away. Venus, long wall over the top. Scowcroft is onside. He's got two men in the middle. He can get across in. Matthew trying to get on the far post. Well, he got there, but not much he could do with it when he did. Scowcroft floating the ball right the way across. Nothing Matthew could do, really. Look on from McFarlane. And now Rodney Jack. He's been away from one. Picked up by McCall. Jack has been left in a heap. McCall finding Keith Hill. And I think Richard Wright might have got a touch on that, or did he? Goal kick is given. Keith Hill suddenly getting into a forward position. He was well found by McCall. And, well, it might just have been a second goal for Torquay. Just really pushing it across the face of the goal. And a good break from the Devon side. Scowcroft getting the little knock on. Chance here for Steen. Gregg having to come out and fist it away. Well, slightly unorthodox perhaps from Matthew Gregg, but effective nevertheless. Been too many scares in this opening quarter of an hour or so of the second half, but certainly Torquay hearts will have been a little of a flutter then. Steen coming through and Matthew Gregg having to come out and punch away. He's enjoying himself tonight. And is again Steen looking favourite at one stage to get it, but brave goalkeeping from the young lad. Holland with the header, finding Dyer. Now Stockwell. Torquay is outside him. Not a good ball though. Well, Andy Gurney reading that one from a long way back. Now McCall trying to make progress down that touchline. Stockwell atoning slightly for his error. Now good ball for Torquay. Matty. Well, took a deflection. No corner given. Ipswich fans behind that goal, just trying to will the ball over the line, I think. Greg keeping it in play. This is Dyer, playing it through for Steen. First time shot, good save again from Greg. Well, he's earning his money tonight, Matthew Gregg. Good break this from Ipswich. Steen getting in the shot first time this time. And the goalkeeper having to be at full stretch. Quite get enough power behind it, really. Torquay. Dyer. Well, Gibbs was onto him as soon as he brought the ball under control. Doing well with it though, Kieran Dyer. With Gibbs sticking to his task and his perseverance paying off in the end. Venus with the cross. Scowcroft just getting a touchdown. Gibbs getting it half away. Dyer with the cross. No problems for Master Greg. And Dyer curling the ball in. And the young keeper on it again. Torquay getting it away again. McFarlane finding McCall. And now McFarlane again. There's Jack to his right. Not a bad ball from McFarlane. What can Rodney Jack do here? Oh my goodness. It's another good effort from the West Indian. Well, Rodney Jack has been watched by a lot of clubs. Almost went to Newcastle last season. For 1 or 2 touches tonight, suggest that he might yet have a future in the Premiership. Just dragging the ball wide again. And he made good space for himself. 25 minutes remaining tonight. And the return leg at Plainmoor in a week's time. So far, Torquay leading by a goal to 0. And they'll be happy with that. Williams looking to float it in towards Scowcroft again. He climbed well for that one, Chirico. Oh, that's the best chance of the second half. Ipswich Town. Mauricio Torquay it was. Williams starting the move. The little cross in. Scowcroft climbing well this time. Good knockdown. Torquay coming in, but putting that first time effort wide. Well, he had to hit it first time, but, well, if he'd hit the target, it would have been a goal. Gone from Scowcroft. Steen not being given much space. Finds Williams. Now Matthew. A lay off for Scowcroft. Well, was he caught? Now the fans felt that he was brought down. And now he's lying on the ball. Well, play seemed to have stopped altogether. And the Torquay players claiming that Scowcroft had lain on the ball and handled it, I think. Scowcroft is absolutely furious that a penalty wasn't given as he went through. He certainly looked as if he was caught, but the referee, I think, deciding it was 6 of one and half a dozen of the other. And then he seemed to be lying on the ball. The Torquay players claiming he'd handled it. Well, corner is the net result. And a poor one at that. Headed away by Gittings. Holland again. Now Venus. Finding Petter. This is Steen. Room for him to turn. Good cross in towards Scowcroft. Torquay again, just throwing bodies at the ball. Turn from Steen. Good cross. Scowcroft was coming in. This is Venus. The space to slot it through to Steam. Dyer with the first-time shot. Not one of his better efforts. Rico finding Dyer. Oh, nice little first touch. This is Matthew. Steele has made a little run through the middle. He actually ran into an offside position. Matthew delaying a little too long. And the fans showing their frustration. This is Petter. Oh, Gurney left it, thinking the ball had gone out, and it hasn't. Now Venus with the cross. And Scowcroft on the far post. Steele tucked in by Mick Stockwell. And with just 45 seconds remaining, Ipswich get the equaliser through Mick Stockwell. Well, it all started when Andy Gurney left that ball thinking it had gone out of play. Venus has crossed towards the far post. Scowcroft getting it back in. Steen with a little poke. And Stockwell won't score an easier goal than that, will he? Well, tragedy for Torquay. Right in the last minute of the game, they concede a goal that puts them back on level terms. Well, Richard Wright still anxious to get the ball forward. Is there time, I wonder, for Ipswich to snatch a second goal? That really would be cruel for poor Torquay. Jack might even have ideas that Torquay can get another one. McFarlane still battling for it. And in the end, Richard Wright forced to make one of the few saves he's had to make tonight. Really had a great deal to do since that first minute. And there is the final whistle. So it's all square for the second leg. Playing more in a week's time. Well, Matthew Gregg, very much the hero of the hour for Torquay. Superb game from him, overshadowing his England under-21 international colleague at the other end. But it was that cruel goal from the Ipswich number 2, Mick Stockwell, which rather broke Torquay United's hearts tonight. And we can be proud of their performance, though. And we'll go to the return leg at Plainmoor with every chance of causing an upset. The final score then here at Portman Road. Ipswich Town 1, Torquay United 1.
It's a tremendous result for us. The lads have performed really well tonight. They've worked hard. We had a good start, very good start with a goal, and you know, and young Matthew Gregg has saved the penalty for us, kept us in the tie, and you know, throughout the game we've defended very, very well. And I think it was less than a minute left, and we've let them in, which from that point of view, it was a little bit disappointing to have gone so long and then to concede a goal. But I can't complain with the result or the performance. You know, I think we'd have settled for that if before the game.
We got off the worst possible start after conceding a goal after a minute or 2 minutes. Then we missed a few chances and also a penalty. So we're pleased just to get an equaliser, really. Torquay, to be fair, made it very hard. They defended in numbers. But we're disappointed, of course. We only joined tonight. But, you know, it's an open game for the return leg, and hopefully we can perform a bit better.
Well, that's just about it from Portman Road. I hope you've enjoyed tonight's action. Don't forget to join us again next week for the return leg at Plainmoor. Hopefully I'll be in slightly better voice than I am now. From all of us on the West Country Match, a very good night.
It's not often that a book sponsors a football match, but that's just what happened at Torquay on Saturday. Award-winning author Gary Nelson got writer's cramp with the demand for autographed copies of his new publication, Left Foot in the Grave, documenting life at the bottom of the Football League.
On the back of the first book, Left Foot Forward, publishers were looking for a suitable sequel, and there wasn't one that really came instantly to mind until the offer to come down to Torquay did. And with Torquay being at the bottom of the league and obviously taking my first steps into a managerial position as well, it seemed the perfect subject to follow on from the success of the first book.
The sponsorship coincided with two of Gary's old clubs meeting at Plainmoor, and it was another one of football's journeymen, John Gittins, who struck first for Torquay. Then there was a debut goal for 17-year-old trainee Leon Hapgood, on as a sub for player coach Steve McCall, and a scorer 7 minutes into his league debut. Struggling Brighton's misery was completed when Kevin Hill made it 3-0. Perhaps they could do with unearthing Gary's left foot, although he was never one for cartwheel celebrations.
Biggest crowd of the season packed into this compact little ground to see if they can overcome First Division Ipswich Town and earn a place in the third round of the Coca-Cola Cup. It didn't take long for Big Mac to show that he was back with the goal that stunned Portman Road a week ago, but Ipswich won't give up without a fight. It may have taken them 89 minutes, but Mick Stockwell's late equaliser proved it's not all over yet. So the two teams level at 1 apiece for tonight's return leg at Plainmoor, although they've experienced contrasting fortunes over the last 7 days. Well, Torquay recorded their best win of the season against Brighton on Saturday, but that victory was achieved at some cost. Player coach Steve McCall picking up a calf injury, which keeps him out of the rematch with his old club. Well, Kevin Hodges has been forced to dig deep into his youth team squad to fill the gap. 18-year-old Leon Hapgood, who scored after coming on as McCall's replacement, makes his full debut tonight in what's certain to be the biggest game of his fledgling career. By contrast, Ipswich are able to call on the experienced David Kerslake to fill one of the gaps in their lineup. The former Spurs star starts his first game of the season after joining Ipswich on a free transfer last month. Well, that's one of 4 changes enforced on manager George Burley. Jason Cundy, Tony Mowbray and Bobby Petter are the other new faces. Well, Burley will be looking for a big improvement tonight after his side slipped into the bottom 3 following Saturday's 3-2 home defeat against Stoke City. Well, tonight's referee, Alan Wiley, gets this game underway. Torquay back in their familiar yellow and blue shirts. Ipswich in all white tonight. And an early touch for their goalkeeper, Richard Wright. He took some criticism on Saturday for manager George Burley, responsible, he felt, for two of the 3 Stoke City goals. Long clearance from him towards Scowcroft. Mark Steen getting the header on. Torquay still not got it clear. Chance now for Rodney Jack. Oh, he was brought down. And the referee just wanting a word or two with Jason Cundy. Well, Cundy, I think, is going to get a yellow card. In the game, less than a minute. Perhaps a sign of Ipswich's intent. Alan Wiley saying that he'll stand no nonsense tonight. Robinson with a long free kick. Ipswich getting it away again. And again they go for that long early ball. This time I think Steen will get on the end of it. Not getting much space from Gittings. Now Williams finding Kerslake. Forward for Petter. Oh, he's got past Gibbs. Clayton is there backing up. Can Rodney Jack keep that one in? Yes, he can. Farland up ahead of him. Jack again going for the shot.